Hey there, my name is Cole Adams, and you are watching the best college basketball podcast out there. Hey there, my name is Cole Adams, and you are watching the best college basketball podcast out there that covers the entire sport of college basketball, brackets, bubbles, and bid stealers. Now here are your hosts, Sam Fetterman and Jonathan Lidskin.
Season 5, episode 87 of Brackets, Bubbles, and Bid Stealers. I am Sam Fetterman. That is Jonathan Lidskin. Jonathan is the first ever. Yeah, it is. Podcast. How are you doing? Well, I'm doing great. This is just good morning in San Antonio, Sam. Yeah, it's nice out. It is 69 degrees. Nice. And we are here to talk ball. We honestly really don't know what we're going to talk about on this podcast.
No, we just figured kind of in-person pod and might as well. I mean, this is, the second time we've ever met in person?
Yeah, and the first time we've ever
met. And we talk pretty much every day.
So. And I mean, I guess the last time we talked, we met in person, we also kind of did like a podcast where we were just kind of talking random ball.
At the Brewers game? At
I think we were talking about Ryan Kalkbrenner like that whole night.
Yeah, I remember, or actually I wasn't told this until after, but dear friends of mine, Jake Circus and Harrison Vapnik, said to each other earlier that day that the people sitting behind us were not going to have a good time.
No, they did not. I don't think the people sitting next to us at Denny's this morning had a good time either.
Probably not. No, those poor Florida fans.
Would you like to make a joke about me?
Yeah, I would. Sam ordered a grilled chicken sandwich at 9:30 in the morning at Denny's today. Just, vile stuff, to be perfectly honest. Denny's grilled chicken sandwich at 9:30. I mean, get some breakfast food, man.
I don't like breakfast food that much.
See, you're not the only one I know that has that opinion.
It's good.
It's a weird opinion to me.
Like I like breakfast food. I just prefer grilled chicken sandwiches.
I can't get behind that, no matter how much I try.
Okay, we went to the coaches convention as well.
We did do that. Had a very nice conversation.
We were also chatting with two friends of the program. One, Austin Mitchell, and Nico Elite Takes.
Yeah, last name is Elite Takes. Don't let people forget it.
Yeah, don't let people forget. Nico's last name is Elite Takes. I would like to unbutton my top button because it is bothering me right now.
That's not how you're supposed to have your tie, though, man.
I know. Who cares?
Wow, what a fraud.
Yeah,
it's a grilled chicken sandwich, and now is not wearing his tie right.
I'm going to be a fraud. Jonathan, are you going to be a fraud?
I'm trying not to be. Nerves haven't kicked in for tonight yet. As you can see, I'm wearing the Duke polo.
Yeah, so we are here to talk ball.
Jonathan, I like that we're playing second, though.
Jonathan, I'm using my hosting skills.
Yeah, go for it.
Shout out Will Rosen for doing this whole for last time I did an in-person podcast. He was the host. I talked to Will on the phone last night about something that I can't really talk about.
I don't even know who that is.
Well, he goes to Marist. Jonathan.
My new favorite guy.
Yes. Jonathan.
Yes.
First of all, the biggest news in college basketball: Josh Pasquarelli commits to Colorado State.
Yes, great fit for Ali Farouk Namesh.
No, Ali Farouk Manesh.
Whatever his name is. No, Josh Pasquarelli.
By the way, we are screaming at each other.
This is awful. No, Josh Pasquarelli is a good player. Big news. Out of Fort Collins.
So the big news, obviously, that we're talking about in college basketball today. Today is the Final Four. Let's talk women's Final Four first. Were you able to watch either of the games? I
was following them. I boarded and took off last night at about halftime of the UConn UCLA game. But it was out of hand by then. So, like you said.
You didn't miss much. UConn completely obliterated UCLA. We said on the preview pod with the great Jack Church. Yes, he gets the great in front of his name.
Does he?
Yes, he's the great Jack Church. What else would he be?
He could be the okay Jack Church.
He's the great Jack Church.
No, he's better than okay. I'll say that.
I said, why doesn't UConn just let Lauren Betts get hers and then figure everything out? Lauren Betts scored 26 points. No one else scored more than 8. So the Huskies kind of blew the doors off UCLA from the very start. I was very impressed. Jonathan, Huskies, Gamecocks, national championship. It's a surprise that we haven't gotten this national championship yet, given how prominent these two programs have been in women's college basketball.
Right.
Who's going to win?
Give me the Huskies of UConn.
UConn. UConn.
I was doing this a lot during last year's
clipping
tournament.
this. We're clipping that. That's going to be our new podcast intro.
Yeah. No, it's not going to be our new podcast intro.
You wearing a Duke shirt doing the UConn?
Listen,
send that to John.
Listen, I bet on UConn, the woman, to win the title earlier this season. Actually, before the season even started, and the prophecy fulfills itself tomorrow night. Tomorrow afternoon.
Look, Paige Beckers, AZ Fudd, Caitlin Chen, best offensive backcourt in the country. You've got, obviously, Gianna El Alfie has been okay. She's had her moments, and she's had really, really high highs and a couple of lows that were a little low, but she played really well when she needed to. This Husky team went to Colonial Life Arena, beat South Carolina by 29. The only reason why the great Jack Church mentioned it on
we can't keep referring to him like that.
Hey, the great Jack Church on Wednesday night mentioned that the only reason UConn's not a 1 seed is the coaching prowess of one Kim Caldwell.
Yeah. I got really nothing else to add, Sam. I mean, you know me. I watch the women's tournament. I'm not a,
we're not ball knowers on the women's side. We're ball watchers.
Watchers. Yeah,
we're ball watchers.
But it's fun. These two programs have been probably the two most prominent college basketball programs of the 2010s and on.
They are the two best college basketball programs in the country, men's or women's, in Division I at least. I would probably take like the NYU women over them at this point because they won 60 games in a row.
Northwest when McCollum was there.
But he's not there anymore.
Yeah.
They had a losing record. Mm-hmm. They hired a good coach, Matt Keeley, and they had a losing record.
I didn't even know that. But
anyway, we were at the coaches convention. We had a nice conversation with a friend of the program who has not been on the podcast, but friend of the program.
Will be.
Champion. Mm-hmm. Will be at some point. Elijah Burns was there too. Just good stuff. Good stuff all around. Top ball.
Fun to be in that atmosphere.
Jonathan, how has your stay in San Antonio been? I'll kind of talk about mine as well.
So flight was awful. We'll start there.
Hand up, mine too.
Yeah.
Why am I saying hand up like I'm to blame for that?
So I was flying out with my dad, and my brothers were flying from Tucson, connecting in Denver, but they got delayed on their first flight last night, so they actually had to fly into Austin. And
how did they get in?
They changed their flight and flew from Denver to Austin, and then Ubered from Austin to San Antonio. So they actually still got in before my dad and I last night. But yeah, awful flight, a lot of turbulence coming in. And but we're here, got approximately 3 hours of sleep last night, give or take an hour. And I'm wide awake this morning, Sam.
Wide awake. It's not even the morning anymore. It's 12:30.
Yeah, I mean, I've been up for 4 hours now, 4.5 hours.
Well, it's 1:30 for all of you folks in the correct time zone.
First live podcast in Central Time. How do you feel about that?
Not good. I feel like I've been defeated.
You have been.
I feel like we might have to change podcast time to Central after this.
Oh, look at that.
It's not the correct time zone, but I think for Canon we have to.
No, I do. In all fairness, though, I do appreciate the sacrifices you make to do this podcast at a late hour, many times, because obviously you have an hour on me,
and I also have a full-time student thing that I'm going on.
Yeah, that's neither here nor there, though.
Hey, I had to print out my. I was at lunch with John Gallagher yesterday, and I had to print out a homework assignment and do the homework assignment at the coaches convention. Student journalist.
Not a journalistic student.
Don't you forget it. Student journalist, right, Jonathan? You've been there.
Yeah. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is for the next 2 years for you.
Yeah, I like being a student journalist. People like student journalists. Some people do. Vic Schaefer loves student journalists.
Who's Vic Schaefer?
The Texas women's coach.
Oh yeah,
you saw that clip.
Yeah, I did.
By the way, shout out to every student journalist in the country right now. Just blanket shout out, especially if you are a student journalist and you traveled with your team to go anywhere. 10 minutes, 10 hours, 16 hours, 24 hours. You traveled with your team, especially on your own dime. Shout out to you.
I did that this year.
Where did you go?
To the St. Louis. Cover the bragging rights game at Illinois Mizzou.
That was fun.
That was more of a student broadcast assignment, though.
Student journalism is the same as student broadcast.
Sure. So, any final four thoughts? I know we did our whole preview on
with the great Rocco
Was it
Miller.
Wednesday or Tuesday?
Wednesday with the great Rocco Miller.
Yeah, everyone's the great whatever now.
Well, Rocco is the
It's
great.
like everyone comes on this podcast and all of a sudden they're
To be fair, I saw the great Rocco
a
Miller.
late
yesterday.
ruler from Europe.
I saw the great Rocco Miller yesterday. We had a nice conversation. He was there. I saw Evan Miyakawa there. He's not the great yet because he hasn't come on the podcast.
Well, that means I don't have to call him the great Scott Lidsky either.
No, and he's also not the great John Shire yet.
Not yet. Hopefully soon.
But we do have some great people that we've met in San Antonio. I had a nice dinner with Jim Root, Kai McKeon from the Three Man Weave. A couple other guys were there. It was really nice to be able to chat with them. Guess what I ate?
Chicken sandwich.
Yep.
Grilled
chicken sandwich, baby.
Yeah,
Grilled
you are
chicken sandwich.
as fraud as they come.
I know. I'm kind of been a fraud.
I'm checking our fantasy lineup right now.
Oh yeah. So Jonathan and I are co-owning a fantasy. And by the way, if you're listening to this podcast right now, God bless you.
Yeah, you're really loyal to the show. if you are like
there is no reason for anybody to be listening to this show unless we've gone 12 minutes and we haven't talked Paul for 1 second.
No, I mean, there's been mentions of ball.
You come here for the ball talk, so we're going to give you the ball talk. We're going to give you all the ball talk that you need in the next 10 seconds.
College basketball crown's on, Fetterman. Turn it on.
Oh, it's on right now?
Yes.
It's on right now.
Yes.
We're live play-by-play of the college basketball crown.
No, dude, that should get us canceled. Fetterman, you're getting cooked for your eating habits this morning.
Oh, no, I've been getting cooked for my eating habits for the last 20 years of my life.
Hockey.
It's the first thing that's on. What do you want me to do?
Devils Rangers. Dude,
College
I'll be locked. I'll be locked into hockey after this week.
Dude, the college basketball crown is literally on Big Fox.
You know what the one good thing about college basketball ending is?
What?
You get to actually focus on other things.
Well, you'd think that you would. You'd think that you would, and then you get bam transfer portal.
Yeah, I mean, my effort with keeping up with the transfer portal is honestly pretty easy. But we get the Stanley Cup playoffs, we get the NBA playoffs.
By the way,
we get the Masters.
I'm
we
retiring
get
from
the draft.
I'm retiring from caring about the NBA playoffs this year
Why?
because the Celtics already won.
No, they aren't. The Thunder
They
are
won
gonna,
last year.
Oh, the Thunder are going to win it this year.
Well, the Celtics won last year. I've seen my championship.
You saw your championship when you were younger too.
2008. I wasn't watching basketball.
You weren't. You didn't know what Ken Pom was back then.
No, unfortunately, I didn't know what Ken Pom was the last time we had 4 1 seeds in the final.
When was the first time you actually started using Ken Pom and found
Oh,
out it was a thing?
legitimately, COVID.
Yeah, me too.
Like the year after COVID. The first year, after COVID, 2021.
Yeah, me too.
That was the first year I understood. I could look at Boise State, Nebraska should not be.
Dude, I feel bad for the people that have to be journalists for this stuff. This is an unserious event.
It's 3 minutes and 45 seconds away from tipping off. We should probably not get that in the shot.
Oh, copyright issues?
Yeah.
All right, turn the TV. Yeah, I don't think anyone's gonna really care, but
yeah, Fox would care. That's something Fox would care about.
Is that why when people will stream games on TikTok or something like that, they'll use the game cast of it? Okay.
Yes.
I never thought about that way.
How have you? I mean, I guess as someone who All right, sorry about that. Connection is bad.
The connection is about as good as this podcast right now.
Let's talk ball though. Jonathan.
Okay, let's do it.
Houston Duke is the late game tonight. That's the game that I think we're going to talk most about. We're going to talk
Yeah.
most intelligently about. First thing you texted me about this game. What was the first thing you texted me? Would you like to say the first thing you texted me about this game was?
How Duke was going to play against Houston.
No. It was something you said about what Houston should do.
Oh, that they should get out of their hard hedge and blitz. which it was a stupid idea looking back on it, but like
I told Jim
that might just be like how Duke is.
I told Jim that last night, and he was like, "Yeah, so they love him to death." And I was like,
"No, I
mean,
mean, like,
and Jim's like, "Yeah, you just there's no."
I think the conclusion that I ultimately came to is there's just no way to play good defense against Duke.
There's no way to reliably play good defense against Duke. The best way to play defense against Duke is you hope they miss shots.
Like Clemson won a low possession game against Duke back in, I think
they also scored 77 points.
Yeah, I mean they dominated.
Duke's losses, they've scored 72, 72, 71.
Like, I think if there's
those are good point totals in losses.
Yeah, I mean I think if
UConn's losses last year, they kind of got blown out.
Yeah, you had the Seton Hall game, you had the Creighton game. Kansas was
injuries.
Yeah, I mean Spencer was hurt. Castle didn't play. Like, yeah, I mean we've talked about many times how we walked out of that game more impressed with UConn than Kansas.
I was really impressed with Bill Self.
Yeah, sure. I mean Kansas hit a bunch of like.
I thought Bill Self defended UConn as well as anyone's defended UConn over that 2 year span. But Jonathan, let's talk legacy here because I think that's the important thing. Well, what's at stake for Duke in this game?
Well, I think if Duke can win the title this weekend in San Antonio, it cements them not only as one of the greatest college basketball teams ever, maybe the greatest team.
Would they be the greatest Duke team ever?
To me, they already are. Like regardless of whether they win the title.
I think you have to win the national championship to be the greatest Duke team ever.
That's fair because you do have that 1999 team that was.
Yeah, the 90,
like
but I wouldn't
absurdly high metrics.
I wouldn't consider the 99 team the best Duke team ever because they didn't win the national championship.
What would you consider 01?
No, one of the Leitner teams.
Okay, that's
probably
fair.
92.
That's fair. Yeah, I think listen, this Duke team is what 35-3 at this moment. You know, they've had one of the more difficult paths to get to a Final Four we've probably seen in recent years. Now you have to get through a Final Four with all one seeds. Like one of the takes that we had in the last, probably closer to a month and a half, is that whoever won the national championship, we were going to talk about them as an all-time team. Now, I don't think for a couple of these teams we'll be talking about them as like the greatest team ever. But Duke can be in that category.
I think if Auburn wins the national championship, we're talking about like most impressive season ever.
Oh yeah, no, especially with the resume they put together.
I guess not because they didn't win the SEC tournament.
I mean, that's such a minuscule detail to me.
I mean, but you think of the all-time great teams like last year's UConn team ran through the Big East tournament.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
And Duke ran through the ACC. But for Auburn to win the greatest conference in the history of the sport in terms of how many bids it got to the NCAA tournament, 14 teams to win it by. They won it by what, one game? But they were going to win it by they clinched it with multiple games to play. For that Auburn team to win 16 quad one games, to run through the NCAA tournament the way that they have, if Auburn wins the national championship, Bruce Pearl might have coached the most impressive season I can remember.
Yeah, so that's actually an interesting discussion point because I was thinking about this on the plane yesterday just as a thought exercise. Like, who would you put – let's just stick to the last decade. So 2014, 15 onward. Who would be – your top 5.
2019 Virginia.
Greatest teams.
I was talking most impressive. 2019 Virginia as well.
Oh, we can do most impressive as well.
I would say the greatest teams last decade or so. Last year's UConn team is number 1.
Mm-hmm.
I would say 2015 Kentucky.
Yeah.
Still the most dominant.
I would put 2021 Baylor.
Yeah, 2021 Baylor for me.
Although it's that discussion with them and Gonzaga is weird because of the way that season was played.
They swamped Gonzaga.
Yeah, I mean Baylor never really had a
College
game.
basketball crown is about to tip, by the way, for all of you sickos. Yeah.
I mean Baylor. The thing with that Baylor team is that in the tournament they never really had a game that was in doubt.
There was the Villanova game that was close in the second half.
Yeah,
and I was yelling at my TV. Jay Wright, call timeout. He didn't call timeout. Baylor goes on an 8-0 run and they win the game from there. I thought that Baylor team was unbelievably impressive. I would also say 2018 Villanova.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You definitely would take 18 Nova over 16.
I think I would take 18 Nova over 16 Nova, but I think I would take 16 Nova over 23 UConn.
I would take 23 UConn. I would take lost a decent amount.
They lost 7 games, but they were all in Big East play, and they destroyed the non-conference. Mm-hmm. I would take that UConn team over 22 Kansas.
Yeah,
I
2022
thought
Kansas
2022
I've
Kansas
called
got
like
a
the
Mickey Mouse run.
2022 Kansas I've called like the most fake champion ever. I
But
mean, like the three
no.
best teams they played in the tournament, in my opinion, were all like injured.
Yeah, I mean,
You had Creighton was missing a plethora of guys.
Kalkbrenner and Nemhard.
Yeah, not to mention Stevie Mitchell, who was a starter for them at the start of the year. And
Stevie
then
Mitchell?
I think so.
No, not Stevie Mitchell.
Sharif Mitchell?
Sharif.
Yeah. Okay.
Somebody.
Sharif Mitchell. And then you had a Villanova team that was missing Justin Moore. And then in UNC, you had Puff got sick in the title game, and Baycott got hurt.
Yeah, Baycott twisted his ankle on a loose floor plate.
Yeah.
and any bets on who twists their ankle on? Oh, Janai Broom. Janai Broom.
Oh, I mean that's the easiest.
Janai Broom twists his ankle on a floor plate, leaves the game for 4 minutes, comes back, drains a 3. Auburn crowd goes nuts. They win by 7.
So let's pivot then to most impressive. What?
It was blank for a second.
Oh, so are we pivoting to most impressive?
Yes, we're pivoting to most impressive.
Okay, so you mentioned 2019 Virginia.
I mean, just winning the national championship coming out of that ACC was really good. But honestly, the fact of the matter, that tournament run, like, it was probably the most competitive tournament I've seen.
Well, they just kept gutting. Virginia kept gutting out wins in different ways.
2023 UConn.
Look, if you
was
were
ridiculously impressive
considering like the margins of victory they won by in the tournament,
and then again considering they were a 4 seed. But like they also ran into a Gonzaga team that was like a 3 seed.
Yeah.
They did not have the most difficult path, but they also played a 13 seed that would have killed any other 4 seed, and they beat them by 25.
I couldn't imagine being a Virginia fan during that 2019 tournament. I mean, from the Sweet 16 on, they were pretty much on the ropes in every game. I mean, even that Oregon team gave them a really good game.
2017 North Carolina was really impressive.
So they rolled through.
They rolled through everyone.
Yeah, I mean, the Sweet 16 game against Indiana, right, wasn't close.
Yeah, they killed them.
Or was that the year they played Butler?
I don't remember. Let's pull it up.
It was Butler because the Indiana-Kentucky game was in 16.
Was it?
Yeah.
The Indiana-Kentucky game was 15.
No, that was 16. I mean, Indiana and Kentucky have played in the tournament.
In 2012, they played in the tournament.
Yeah, and in 2016.
Yeah, hold on. Let me pull it up. 2017, North Carolina. They beat. Oh yeah, it was Butler. Oh no, wait. I'm thinking of a different Carolina team.
Are you thinking of 16?
Yeah, I think 16 killed.
Even though they lost the title.
16 killed everyone.
Well, they throttled Syracuse in the Final Four.
They killed Notre Dame. They killed Indiana. They killed Providence, and they also won the ACC.
Was Notre Dame the Elite Eight?
Yes.
Wow, that's crazy.
But honestly, then they lost the championship. If Chris Jenkins doesn't hit that shot, we're talking one of the most impressive tournaments.
Well, it would have been. They would have had to win in overtime.
True,
because it was tied.
True,
but
2018 Villanova, they won every tournament game by double digits. They played the number 12 team in Ken Palm in the Sweet 16, 11 in the Elite Eight, 9 in the Final Four, 7 in the national championship. They killed them all. Did you ever have a feeling that Villanova was going to lose to Michigan?
No.
No, I didn't either.
I didn't have a feeling that Villanova was going to lose that entire tournament.
Yeah, I think.
What was their most competitive game?
I think once Virginia lost, I felt that
it was West Virginia in the Sweet 16.
Yeah. So I look at 2021 Baylor as just remarkably impressive. They lost 2 games all year. One of them was right after COVID, and then the other was Cade Cunningham drops 40 in the Big 12 tournament. You were there.
Yeah, and they lost to Oklahoma State.
That was their most competitive game was what, the Elite Eight against Arkansas. I still think that first half against Houston is one of the most impressive halves I've ever seen from a team in a Final Four.
I mean, they couldn't miss a shot. Not a singular one.
That was one of the most impressive halves I've ever seen from a team in the Final Four.
The
fact of the matter was, and then the Gonzaga game, there was a point in that game, I think, Gonzaga cut the lead to 9. Timmy got a post touch on Mark Vital, and it was an easy turnaround layup. And I was like, all right, this is Gonzaga's run. Here we go. And Baylor just throttled them.
Well, there was that one sequence.
And that was a 9-point game. The closest that game got when I legitimately thought that it was 9. Yeah, so this is kind of what we were getting at earlier from Isaac. Thanks for tuning in, Mr. Bourne. Would you compare Duke's dominance to UConn in the past few years? Are we too? Yes, but no. Last year's UConn team, they started 2 fifth-year seniors. They started a third-year sophomore. They started a dominant sophomore center. And won one and done. This Duke team's gonna
top 5 pick.
This Duke team has a 17-year-old as its best player. That UConn team's two best players or two best offensive players were fifth-year seniors.
Yeah.
Obviously, the best.
Yeah, I mean, the teams are built differently.
And like you got a head coach that already won a national championship versus the head coach who it is his third year.
Yeah, he's 37 years old chasing.
I think John Shire, and this is not because Jonathan. This is not because of Jonathan here. It's not because of Jonathan talking me into Shire. Jonathan has talked me into Shire at times because there have been times where I thought Shire was not as impressive, but every year that John Shire's been head coach, his team has gotten better and better and better and better throughout the year. That's been the most impressive thing. And it felt like there were times here where how are they going to get better from what they were in January? Well, it's not the Cooper Flagg show anymore. Well, it is.
Yeah.
Cooper Flagg was dropping 27 a game in January.
Yeah, there was a point where
now
they were
it
relying.
feels like Kaman Malawach and Con Knipple and Sion James. And even, like, honestly, Tyrese Proctor has been...
Tyrese has played like an All-American in the last
think Tyrese
month
Proctor,
and a half.
in this NCAA tournament, Tyrese Proctor has been the most impressive Duke player for me compared to my expectations. Because my lasting image of Tyrese Proctor is that last year's tournament.
The dud in the Elite Eight.
When him and Filipowski, I think I tweeted it. You know what they say? You can't win in the tournament with sophomores. It was a good joke. And people took it as like you need experience. No, that was the joke. The joke was that the joke was on those people.
So yeah, I've made jokes about like the experience stuff in this tournament either. Like when Derek Queen hit the shot to beat Colorado State. Like my first tweet was like, "Oh, why did that count? Like freshmen can't win a tournament. Take it off the board." Yeah, it's a silly thing that casuals say, and the only reason it's a thing is because there are so few teams in college basketball that use the method of like, "Hey, we're going to build a roster with a bunch of talented freshmen and try and play that."
And here's the thing:
who are the teams in the last decade who have done it like that?
Like, let's be honest
Duke
here.
and Kentucky.
Duke's done it. Kentucky's done it. Kansas hasn't done it. North Carolina hasn't done it. Those two programs love developing. I think they've been, LSU did it once with Ben Simmons and Antonio Blake. Like it's the teams that fail with the star freshmen are the teams that don't get star freshmen very often. The Rutgers, the LSU.
Yeah.
They
don't know how to surround players.
Arizona State did it this year. Obviously, those guys were a lot lower ranked.
And younger. I mean,
and Memphis,
both of them were
Memphis when they had Jalen Duren.
Even like when Wiseman was there, and I know he was ineligible, but like that team was built around freshmen, and they were genuinely good for the first couple games of the season until Wiseman got suspended.
Wiseman played 2 games.
Yeah.
They beat Oregon, right?
Yeah, I mean, they looked impressive in the first 2 games. I know they beat like UIC.
Was that the Peyton Pritchard Oregon team?
Yes, it was. It was one of the Peyton Pritchard Oregon teams.
Yeah. That was 2020, right?
Yes, it was. I mean, that Peyton Pritchard team, that was the one that they beat Michigan on a buzzer beater in non-con. They had that awesome game in Tucson with Arizona.
Oh, no, they lost to Oregon. They lost that.
Did they?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wiseman played 22 minutes.
No, but that team genuinely showed some stuff.
That team started. Holy crap! They started 5 freshmen. Okay, Jonathan. That team in this.
Do you want me to guess?
This Memphis Oregon game. That Memphis team started. Sit down.
Wiseman.
No, hold on. That Memphis team started 5 freshmen. Their first player off the bench was a freshman, and their second 2 players off the bench were sophomores.
Holy cow!
Give me their 5 freshman starting lineup, and then their freshman 6th man.
So Wiseman and Quinones.
Yep. One of them is in the NBA and has been in the NBA for like a couple years, and is good in the NBA. Like I think he's good at least.
Really?
Like not like a star or anything, but like a consistent role.
Boogie Ellis.
Yes. He's not in the NBA.
I know, but
he might be.
I have no idea
he's
where
probably
he
playing
is.
overseas.
Like I knew he was on that team.
Yep. Boogie Ellis.
Javon Quinterly?
No.
He didn't.
JQ started at Villanova.
Yeah, that's right.
Jelly fam.
Did Isaac just give away the answer? I won't.
No, he didn't. He said besides the 2012 Kentucky team and 2003 Syracuse, 2015.
Alex Lomax.
Alex Lomax was a sophomore off the bench.
Okay.
By the way, this team did not play a single senior more than 2 minutes in this game, or a junior. The one senior was Isaiah Maurice.
I don't even know who that is.
Neither do I. You want me to give it to you?
Yeah, give me the rest.
Precious Achua.
Okay.
That's the NBA guy.
Yeah, he's good.
Damian Baugh.
Okay.
And DJ Jeffries.
So these were like the guys that like they paired with like Jalen Duren a couple years later, when Memphis nearly upset Gonzaga in the second round.
No, that team was Landers, Nolly, DeAndre Williams, Quinones was there, Lomax was there. Oh my God, Josh Minot.
Dude, I was like super high on him as a prospect. He had some juice.
Tyler Harris was there. Chandler Lawson. Earl Timber.
Looking back, that it makes sense why that Memphis team beat Boise as badly as they did.
It was an 11-point game, but it was a blowout.
Yeah.
Can you name that Boise starting five?
Oh, God, no, dude.
Abu Kijab, Emmanuel Acott, Marcus Shaver, T. Deggy, and Mladen Armas. I do not remember Mladen Armas one
here's
bit.
the thing. Like, I almost remember nostalgic players from like the late 2010s better than I do.
Mladen Armas was on that
22.
East Tennessee State team in 2019 with Steve Forbes. The one that went 24-10.
With like Bo Hodges.
Yeah, the year before they were really, really, really good. When they went 30-4.
These are some fun names.
Lucas Engasan. Oh man, I haven't thought about that in a long time.
Not
David.
David.
David. Lucas. But yeah, that Isaac kind of mentioned it. The teams that win with freshmen. Somebody just followed me on Twitter, and his display name is his phone number.
Call it.
No, we will not be calling this phone number.
This could be a great podcast moment. You're just going to ruin it.
We will not be calling that phone number. So yesterday, I was at the NABC convention, the NABC Coaches of the Year. Would you like to talk about the NABC Coaches of the Year?
My dad's calling me.
Are you going to pick up?
Should I?
Should we do it live on the pod?
Yeah, let's do it. Hey, you're on Brackets, Bubbles, and Bid Steelers. What's up?
Is the first game at
5:09.
And with a slight issue.
What?
The Shires invited us to the hotel for the Duke send-off at 5:40.
Oh.
Should I mute this? Sorry about that, guys. But the NABC Coaches of the Year: Bruce Pearl, Jim Crutchfield, James Cosgrove, Colby Blaine, and Tim Sandfist. So here's what we need to talk about. Bruce Pearl wins National Coach of the Year. But we've seen, like, I feel like there's the thing about National Coach of the Year. What are we truly awarding for National Coach of the Year? Is it coach of the best team? Is it the coach who's the best relative to expectation? I think Coach of the Year criteria changes. And let's be honest here. Every other Coach of the Year, Jim Crutchfield won the national championship. James Cosgrove won the national championship. Colby Blaine won the national championship. Tim Sandfist won the D2 JUCO national championship. So is the criteria just to win the national championship? And if so, was Kevin Ollie the best coach in 2014? Obviously, different stuff. But like, I feel that some of the criteria around Coach of the Year is so weird. But huge congratulations to all those coaches. Jim Crutchfield, just total icon of the coaching space because he doesn't care. Like, Jim Crutchfield is the most unique coach in college basketball because he doesn't care what people think of him. He does. Like, he was a college tennis coach. He was mentioning this, and the moderator, which was actually Sean Farnham, asked him a question. He asked everyone the same question. It was, if you could give yourself advice or tell your younger self something, what would it be? And what Jim Crutchfield said was, you're not going to believe what's going to happen. And that's the exact thing. Like, nobody could believe what Jim Crutchfield has gone on to do in college basketball. Because when Jim Crutchfield was hired at West Liberty, he was the assistant that was promoted after someone got fired. That doesn't happen. But Crutchfield wanted to run such a different...
Yeah, it doesn't happen to Ohio State.
Yeah, but like, that was after success as an interim. But Crutchfield had such great success. And then James Cosgrove at Trinity, great stuff this year. Won the national championship. Lost his best player to Binghamton Division I. Can you name that player?
What year was this?
This year.
Gavin Walsh.
No.
Oh.
Ben Callahan Gold.
No idea.
He was their six-man sharpshooter off the bench.
Okay.
Was like one of the D3 national players of the year or something.
I mean, it should be a compliment that I know a Binghamton player. Like,
I mean, I could give you their whole starting five.
I'm sure you could.
I mean,
in
I
your
could
region.
give you everybody. Slide over.
Hold on, I'm tying my shoe.
James Cosgrove loses his best player. wins the national championship. Shout out to Henry Vetter for the big shot in the national championship game. CJ Weeps and I were watching that game together. We were on FaceTime, and I had someone knock on my door telling me I was too loud.
That's how you pronounce his last name?
I think so.
Weeps?
I think so. Is it not?
I don't know.
Whatever. I don't know anything about Tim Sandfist, honestly. I just first heard of him for the first time yesterday. Seems like a good coach. And Colby Blaine, who was not there, the head coach at the College of Idaho, who I've been a fan of for over a year because he wins a lot.
Usually a good reason to be a fan of a coach.
Yes. The most coaches that win a lot, I'm fans of them. Some of them not. Some of them
Ben
not.
McCollum, who would have thought?
I say that all the time at this point. But
Yeah.
Ben McCollum, there's no other Ben McCollum. Obviously, the reason why it took so long for Ben McCollum to get a D1 job, Spencer Torkelson home run. The reason why it took Ben McCollum so long to get a D1 job is because he was picky about it.
Rightfully so.
He knew his value, and he wanted to maximize it. And at a place like Drake, where he was able to maximize that value, now he's the head coach at Iowa. And I'm really, really glad that I think I said 2 years ago that like he's going to be a high major coach within 10 years.
Yeah.
You don't realize how fast some of this stuff can happen.
Yeah, it can move pretty fast. And, I think you and I had a discussion a couple weeks ago about how, coaching can take Ben McCollum wherever he wants. Like, if he wants to be an NBA coach, I believe one day he will have that opportunity.
I think it's weird though for him to be an NBA guy because he plays so methodical.
I mean, you can't really play that slow tempo.
But here's the thing.
But is he always going to do that?
I mean, that's
one of the things he talked about in his introductory press conference.
I was listening to Craig Doty. I wasn't listening. I was reading his thread. Craig Doty did an awesome thread. Craig Doty, the head coach at Houston Christian. I was reading his thread, and he was like, one of the things that Ben's assistants have always said is one of Ben's assistants told Colby was Craig Doty was that you will play the game Ben McCollum wants you to play. Whether that's slow, which it always has been, fast, whatever, you will play the game Ben McCollum wants you to play.
Yeah, I mean, that was evident in the first round against Mizzou.
You picked Dennis Gates to beat Ben McCollum.
I did, and I feel like an idiot for it. But
oh my God,
what?
Quinnipiac just tweeted this.
Amari?
Quinn?
Amari?
Hold on, give me a second.
All right. Well, while Sam is going to talk to whoever, let's continue this talk about Ben McCollum. I think he will be an NBA coach one day. I did pick Dennis Gates to beat him, regretfully, in the first round. It was not my finest moment of picking a bracket, but we learned from it. Coaching gap rules there for a reason, and I didn't follow it for that one. But anyway, yeah, Sam, was getting into it, the D2 guys, but the best thing I could say about, hiring a coach in any school is just hire a guy who wins basketball games. And that's what I think people are so concerned about with in the Indiana hire for some reason. Darren DeVries has never been this over enthusiastic, big personality guy. And, you don't necessarily need to be especially at a place like Indiana where they haven't won the way they've wanted to in so long. And Darren DeVries, wherever he's gone, has won basketball games. And I think at Indiana, he's going to continue to do so. So it's just some of these hires, you just hire guys that win. It's just, I don't think it's really that complicated. Some of these hires, Josh Pastner to UNLV, guy that's been kind of just okay at a couple different stops. Even the Kevin Willard hire at Maryland now at Villanova was weird to me. It was weird to me when he went from Seton Hall to Maryland too, but obviously he did okay at Maryland. Got to a Sweet 16, got to a round of 32, but now he's the Villanova coach, and it's just some of these hires, when you think uninspiring hires, it's just there's two different branches you can go off of. One, people are just dumb and you didn't hire the big flashy names, so it's a bad hire. Well, that's not always the case. and then just hiring a guy that like kind of hasn't succeeded at a level that like is super impressive. And like to me, that's kind of what Richard Pitino is. I think Richard Pitino will be fine at Xavier, and like he'll probably make tournaments, might get to a Sweet 16. I think there's probably a ceiling with him, and he had talent in Minnesota, and the first he got was like the second round.
I think he's come back.
You know?
I mean, why else did they tweet this?
Yeah, I mean, like, who knows?
Quinnipiac men's basketball just tweeted the Wolf of Wall Street with Leo going.
I'm
like
back.
This. It doesn't say I'm not leaving, but it's the reference to that with the eye emoji.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why else. Can you think of anything else? Like, is there any other like?
No, it wouldn't be.
I mean, Amari is sick. Like, he dominated that league this year. How much room do you think he has to grow as a player?
I don't know.
Because he kind of is like that, like junkyard dog, like type of player, right?
Hold on, I can. Amari, like the weird thing about Amari.
Explain Amari Monroe.
The weird thing about Amari is like he's not the greatest dribbler, passer, or shooter. Water.
Yeah, that's fine.
He's not the greatest dribbler, passer, or shooter, but like he does all of the other things. That's like rim running, pick and like he can dribble, he can pass, he can shoot. But like if you took all those aspects away from basketball, he's the best player on the floor easily because he's in every passing lane. He's super long. He's energy guy defensively, and he can just get to the rim whenever he wants. Like as a cutter, just straight downhill drives. There's not a ton of like finesse in his game. I think that
Columbus just won Chipotle, by the way.
Amari Monroe's here. Said Quinnipiac just tweeted it. All right.
Wow.
Hey, you go.
Yeah, do you want to just end the show right now? Or okay. So yeah, there you go. Amari Monroe back to Quinnipiac. Just insane. Like he would have gotten.
He had a final six.
Like was Quinnipiac even in it?
No.
Yeah, that's we got a massive Mac News tweet from John Rothstein. So meanwhile, at the high school ranks, the Boozers and Columbus just won the Chipotle National Championships. I'm reading this off Twitter, but the Boozers finished their high school career at Columbus with a record of 117-16. They won 100 more games than they lost games. Like that's just insane. You know, they had won Peach Jam twice. I think.
Let's go, baby. Let's go,
dude. You're witnessing Sam Fetterman.
Let's go. We got our player of the year.
With the crowning
we got our
achievement in the MAC live on air.
Sometimes the best gets are the ones you already have. At Trilly Donovan.
That's insane.
Shout out Ethan Hurwitz, by the way. He was all over this from the start that like there's a good chance that he comes back, and everyone was telling him that no chance. I'm so glad that he's coming back.
Like you can only think about like how much money he could have gotten in the portal, and really, Penn.
All right, regardless, we'll want to talk about that. We got to get back to talking about college basketball and the NCAA tournament, the Final Four. But we're here at the Final Four.
We are in beautiful San Antonio, Texas. My first time in Texas.
My third. My first time outside of Houston. I was on the Riverwalk last night. It was awesome.
So
I saw Chris Casey.
Your first two times coming to Texas were both Houston, right?
Yes.
Final Four and then visiting
Nico,
Mr. Elite Takes.
Yeah, Mr. Elite Takes.
So, what do you think, Houston or San Antonio?
San Antonio, 1,000,000 times out of 1,000,000. This is such a much. I also wasn't staying downtown in Houston. To be fair,
this is your second time at the Final Four, right?
Second time at the Final Four. I will not be staying for the national championship game. So we've already gone over our picks. We did that on Wednesday. I really apologize for the quality of the show being as bad as it is.
We've had a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
My dad calling me. Amari.
Yeah,
I mean, just crazy stuff.
yeah. I'm really happy about the MAC though.
Yeah, I mean, what a great day for the league.
All right. Last thing before we go. When's the season finale? Tuesday night, season finale.
Unless something changes and for some reason I'm out earlier.
All right, Jonathan, you want to take us home?
If you came to hear about Tyler Self and where he's working, you came to the right place. If you came to listen to my dad and Sam make phone calls during the show, you came to the right place. And if you came to hear about the latest happenings with Caleb Grill, you came to the right place. This has been Season 5, Episode 87 of Brackets, Bubbles, and Bid Stealers. We'll see you one more time